welcome back to my channel. I actually have a very exciting video to share with you. Today is a collab video. It's been a really long time since I've done a collab, but I am doing this collaboration with Drea CN. I will have her channel linked down below. She is an absolute sweetheart. If you have not watched her channel, I definitely recommend checking her out. She is very honest with her opinions on things. She lives in Canada, which I like having a different perspective on products. I find it really interesting to see different people's perspective depending on where you live. So yeah, I definitely recommend checking out her channel. So today, Drea and I both decided it would be fun to talk about products that are overhyped, or I guess are they worth the hype, basically. So products that you see talked about all the time on YouTube, and whether or not they're worth all of the hype that they get. So this was really hard to narrow it down, you guys. So I tried to keep it around 10 products. I actually think I have 12 products to talk about today, but I definitely have a ton of products in my collection besides these 12 products that I could talk about as well. If you guys would like to see another video like this in the future, please let me know. It was very hard to narrow it down, like I mentioned. There's a lot of products that get a ton of hype, and some of them deserve the hype and some of them just really kind of don't. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. I can't wait to see which products Drea picked out. I'm hoping that we pick totally different products, but there may be some overlaps, which would actually be really interesting to see as well. So I can't wait to see what she picked for hers. We kept it a surprise. I didn't want to tell her what I was picking, and I didn't want her to tell me what she was picking because I wanted it to be kind of a surprise for us, and I didn't want it to influence the way I picked my products. I just wanted to completely go blind and just walk through my collection. Basically, I just started pulling out things from drawers, and then I had to kind of filter it down because there was a lot of stuff I wanted to talk about. So let's go ahead and jump into this. So I want to start with lip products. I usually end with lip products. So I thought it'd be interesting to switch it up and start with some lip products today. So the first thing that I wanted to mention is the Kat Von D liquid lipsticks. I feel like these are so hyped up on YouTube, and not just on YouTube, but it's one of our top selling products at Sephora. People are always coming in looking for these, and we're always sold out of, there's like certain shades that we sell out of all the time. This one here that I have is called Lolita 2. I actually own quite a few of them. I gave a lot to my daughter, who is 14. People ask me that all the time when I mention that I give my daughter makeup. She's 14. The reason I'm not completely in love with these, I don't necessarily love the formula of this liquid lipstick. It can be extremely drying. It's one of the most drying formulas of liquid lipsticks that I have tried. It goes on slightly patchy because it's very liquidy, so I do feel like I have to kind of do a few layers to get it even, but liquid lipstick does not layer nicely. So when you do that, it does tend to make it look a little bit messy. And I get that really ugly, cracked, like crusty look on my lips with these. So these for me are just way too much maintenance. Whenever I wear these, I only wear them if I'm not planning to go somewhere where I need it to be on and not be worrying about it. Like, I cannot wear these to work because within, before I even make it to my first break, they look disgusting on my lips. They're just cracked and peeling in the middle usually, like where I talk a lot. And it's just not a good look. So, and not only does it look bad, but it feels extremely uncomfortable on the lips. So overall, I am really not a fan of these liquid lipsticks. I know people really love them, and I think it must be people who have just really good lips that don't have any dryness at all, because they are so drying. And I don't feel like my lips are extremely dry to begin with, but these make them feel awful. So I definitely do not think these are worth the hype. Let's talk about another liquid lipstick that is getting a lot of hype right now. This one is actually from the Sephora collection, and this is called the Cream Lip Stain. They just came out with a ton of new shades, and this one, it is slightly moussier, but it is so much more pigmented. That Kat Von D one, I had to do 3 swipes on my hand to get it that solid of a color. This Sephora collection one, I did 1 swipe. So that's the difference, I think, with these. You don't have to layer them. You literally just put it on and you're good to go. I don't even feel like I need a lip liner with these because it has that really nice small wand so I can get a precise application from it. So I normally don't even use a lip liner with this one, and it just is so much more comfortable. It goes on creamier, it does dry completely down, and it does not transfer once it's completely set. So it does have a very traditional liquid lipstick kind of formulation, but for some reason these are so much less drying than any other like standard liquid lipstick that I've tried. They dry down, they're not transferable, but they don't dry my lips out. I don't feel like they crack or peel at all with like some of the other liquid lips that I've tried. So these are for sure worth the hype. I wish I could go and buy every single color. I do have a lot of them and I just love them. They're just gorgeous. I highly recommend trying those. By the way, if you're wondering, that color right there is number 44, and I love the new shades they came out with because they came out with a lot of really unique, cool shades like that one there. All right, and then the last lip product that I wanted to talk about is MAC lipstick. So MAC lipsticks has been hyped up on YouTube for years. I feel like the hype has started to finally kind of calm down with MAC lipsticks, but I remember even when I was starting my channel a few years ago that I would watch videos of girls showing their entire MAC collection, lipstick collection, where they would try on like 100 MAC lipsticks in a row. Do you guys remember those videos? I think I did one or two of those myself a few years ago, but these got so much hype on YouTube in years past. Here is a swatch of this one. Here is called Pink Plaid, by the way. And like I mentioned, the hype is finally starting to die down with these. I don't feel like I see as many videos about MAC lipsticks, but the reason I think that these were so hyped up is because they were one of the first lipsticks to come out where there was such a huge selection of colors. Like MAC just has so many lipstick colors, so many different lipstick finishes. A lot of other brands would put out a collection of like matte lipsticks and you'd get like 12 colors, or you know, ones with a satin finish and they'd have like 5 or 6 colors in the collection. But MAC just had so many colors and so many finishes. And the price point was kind of, I would say their price point is pretty medium. I think they're $17 now. I feel like they raise their price every year by 50 cents. So right now I believe they're $17 for the MAC lipsticks, which is not bad. A lot of high-end lipsticks range from about the $17 range up to, you know, $35 depending on what brand you're buying from. So it's actually pretty affordable for a high-end lipstick. I sort of feel like MAC falls right in between high-end and drugstore. They're not really necessarily high-end and they're not drugstore, so they're kind of right in the center. So for that reason, they're a little bit more affordable, and there's like a color for everyone. So I feel like that's why they got so much hype. I definitely really like the formula on their lipsticks for the most part. It really depends on the finish. The retro mattes, I can't stand those. They are way too drying for me. The satin finish is probably my favorite. This one is just a matte the regular matte finish, which is not too bad. The new formula, it's not too bad. It's not too drying. What else do I like? I don't like the sheer ones. I feel like the sheer ones are, there's just not enough color payoff for me. I do feel like the MAC lipsticks are worth the hype because they are a really good formula for an affordable price. So I would definitely try them if you haven't. I think they are worth the hype. And as I mentioned, I don't feel like they're getting the hype they used to, but they're still really good. So next I have a couple of face powders to talk about. The first one is from RCMA. This powder, I feel like everybody was using this powder for a while, and I still see it all the time on YouTube, but everyone was talking about this, the original no color powder from RCMA. You get a massive amount of product in this container. It looks like I barely used mine, and I haven't used it a whole lot, but I have been using it quite a bit. It is a completely translucent powder. It does not add any color, obviously. It doesn't have a flashback. I feel like the reason this one is so overhyped is because of the price. It's a very, very affordable powder, especially for how much you get. Look how much product you get in here. It's 3 ounces. That's a lot of powder. This will last you forever. I do not like the packaging at all. I don't like the fact that it looks like a seasoning, basically. Like it looks like where, you know, you would have like your Italian seasoning and you shake it onto your food. That's what it looks like. So it's not convenient as far as using the product. I do want to get a little container with a sifter that I can transfer this into. I just haven't done it yet because I feel like it's extremely inconvenient. Right now what I do is I just remove the cap completely instead of using the little sprinkler thing, and just put a tiny bit in the cap and then use it. But as I mentioned, it's not convenient. It does make a big mess. You guys could probably see the powder fly up when I did that. So it is quite messy how it is. So I'm gonna try to find a different way to use it. However, besides the packaging, I do think this is worth the hype just because it is such an affordable option. It's very similar to like the Makeup Forever translucent powder. However, it doesn't have the white cast that the Makeup Forever can sometimes have, and it also is a lot more powder for a lot less of a price. So I definitely recommend this. I do think it's worth the hype. I really like it. I just wish they would change their packaging. All right, the next powder that I feel like is extremely overhyped on YouTube is from Laura Mercier. This is another one that I feel like everybody always uses on their tutorials. You see it constantly on YouTube, everyone talks about it, and it is just the translucent powder, by the way. This is definitely worth the hype. This is one of my all-time favorite face powders. I love this powder. This did make my top 5 favorite powder video, which I will link above in case you missed it. It's just a really beautiful powder. It has a little bit of almost kind of a yellow tint to it. So even though it is translucent, it's not like the RCMA or the Makeup Forever where it's a stark white powder. It is a little bit kind of yellowy. So because of that, it definitely has absolutely no white cast at all in photos. It just, I don't know, there's something about this powder. It is so finely milled. It applies beautifully. It really just will set your makeup in place and look invisible. I just love it. It's a really, really good powder, and it's definitely worth the hype. Okay, next I have some face powders to talk about. So first of all, I had to mention this because everyone talks about these. This is the Becca Shimmering Skin Perfector Pressed. This here is the shade Champagne Pop, but I do own basically all the shades because these are incredible. I really do love these. They are so soft and creamy. They just melt into the skin and give the most beautiful luminous finish. The one thing I have to say about these Shimmering Skin Perfector Pressed is they definitely are not ultra long wearing. They do give a beautiful glow to the skin, but they don't last all day. So you do have to kind of reapply it because they are so powdery. They do tend to kind of fluff away or melt away. I don't know what they do. They just kind of go away by the end of the day. That is the only negative I have about these powders, but other than that, they are absolutely stunning on the cheeks. I really do like their shade selection as well. They have like, I think 9 shades now. They have so many shades to pick from. So no matter your skin tone, you're gonna be able to find a shade from them that works. Even the deeper skin tones have shades that work. I feel like a lot of brands have highlighters for like light to medium skin tones, and that's about it. They kind of skip right over highlighters for deeper skin tones. So when I have clients coming in that have a deeper skin tone that want to highlight, it really limits them. But Becca does a good job of accommodating all skin tones. So I really, really appreciate that from that brand in particular. And I definitely think these are worth the hype. I think they are worth picking up 1 or 2 shades. I really do love these. They are really beautiful. All right, next I'm gonna talk about one that I don't think is worth the hype, and this is from Charlotte Tilbury. This is called the Film Star Bronze and Glow. Now don't get me wrong, this is a beautiful product. Let me show you the inside. You get a contour and a highlight in here. It is a stunning product. However, I definitely think this is dupeable. You can get a much cheaper version of this, even from the drugstore. There's not anything super special about this powder. It's a great bronzer and it is a great highlighter, but it is so basic that I don't know, it's just not worth the price to me. This is a very expensive product. I can't remember the price off the top of my head, but I will put it down below for you guys so you can see it. I will link all the products so you guys can check them out if you're interested. And let me just swatch it for you. It's a very, very subtle bronzer. I don't know, you guys. For me, it's just not worth the price, not worth the hype. Everyone talked about how this is a life-changing product. For me, it was like, oh, it's a good bronzer, it's a good highlight. But I have a lot of good bronzers and a lot of good highlights, and I didn't have to spend this much money to get them. All right, next up, talking about good bronzers that are affordable. This guy right here was extremely hyped up on YouTube, and I definitely feel like this was worth the hype. This is the Butter Bronzer from Physicians Formula. Oh, this is a beautiful bronzer. This bronzer is amazing. It is absolutely so easy to blend out. It is very, very subtle, but buildable. So that is it on the bottom there, and as you can see, it almost might even be a pretty close dupe for that Film Star Bronze and Glow that was probably 10 times the price. But I really just love this. It's a great bronzer. It's very affordable. The only negative about this one is the packaging. It is a little bit bulky. I don't like how Physicians Formula has their really bulky packaging. They do give you a brush included, which nobody ever uses those, and there is a mirror underneath as well, which I always forget about. But the powder itself is absolutely gorgeous and definitely worth the hype. This is so worth the hype. Okay, the last products I wanted to talk about, I have a whole bunch of palettes to talk about with you guys today. So let's start with this here. This is from Viseart. This is the Theory palette in the shade Minx. So not specifically this palette, but Viseart in general. I wanted to talk about, are they worth the hype? Because it is a very overly hyped brand and their shadows are quite expensive. So of course, you want to know, is it worth it? Is it worth the money you're spending on these? Are they hyped up for a reason? Are they really worth their hype? I'm sad. I'm not sad to say this, but I didn't want to love these because they are so expensive. I did not want to love these. I wanted to be able to buy it and be like, oh, I don't know what people are talking about. It's not worth the hype. I don't need any more of them, but that was not the case with these. They are absolutely stunning and definitely worth the price, especially the mattes. I have never come across a better formula for a matte eyeshadow than these. They are so pigmented but blendable. It's, you know, when you get those matte eyeshadows that are so pigmented and you place it on your eye and you have to blend for days to get it to do anything, these are not like that. They are creamy, they are pigmented, but you can blend them out so easily. They are just a fantastic formula. I have never, like I said, I've never had a brand outperform these. These are the best mattes I've ever tried. Now their shimmers are good. They're good shimmers. They're not my absolute favorite shimmers, but the mattes, like I mentioned, are my favorite mattes. So I definitely do plan to pick up some more Viseart eyeshadows, but I am going to buy the all matte palettes because there's something special about the formula of the mattes. So I definitely highly recommend those, and I think that they are worth the hype. Again, if you're talking about the mattes, I think the mattes are worth the hype. The metallics are good, like I said, but probably not worth the price point. So I would not buy any of their all shimmer palettes, but I will definitely be buying some more of the all matte palettes. I just think they're stunning. They're just beautiful. Okay, next up, you guys knew I was gonna talk about this. I have a feeling like every overly hyped video is gonna have this in there. This is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Modern Renaissance palette. Everyone talks about this palette. It is definitely overhyped on YouTube. This is what it looks like inside. It's just a very neutral, warm tone palette. There's a lot of those really cool like reds and pinks that are quite popular right now. So the color scheme of this palette is very unique, but very wearable, very usable, and very in right now. I do feel like this palette, again, is worth the hype. This palette is fantastic, and it's actually, for a high-end palette and how much shadow you're getting in here, it's actually pretty affordable. It's like, what, $42, I believe, which is a really good price for a high-end palette, and I just love it. I feel like every time I pull this out, I come up with a very creative look, and every time I love the way it looks, every single time. You know, you have those palettes where you reach for them and you feel like you're always pulling the same shades out of that particular palette. I don't get that with this palette. Every time I open this up, I come up with something different, and every time I love it. I think it's stunning. I love every shade in here. There's not one shade in here that I don't use, and it's just a fantastic palette and definitely worth the hype. All right, this guy here is actually another face palette, but this is from Kat Von D. This is the Shade and Light contour palette, not the eye one, but the face one. This is what it looks like inside. It doesn't look like I've used mine much, but I really have. Like, there's a pretty good dip in that yellow shade right there. So this palette here has been really hyped up on YouTube. People talk about it all the time. and it really is worth the hype, you guys. This is the only palette I use on clients. When I have a client come in wanting a mini makeover for a contour, I always grab this palette. No matter their skin tone or skin type, this palette just works universally for everybody. It's easy to blend, but you get just the right amount of pigmentation from them. And I just think it is a great palette. It is, I think, $49. I have the old packaging, by the way. She did redo these now so that it is easier to, so that you're able to actually change out the pan. So let's say you used up an entire shade and you want to replace just that shade. You can do that with the newer palettes. I have the old one, so this one does not, but I really love that she changed that, because these two shades I know I'm gonna run out of first, because those are the two that I use the most. And I wouldn't want to have to rebuy a whole palette, although I will have to, because I have the old packaging. But definitely worth the hype, you guys. Alrighty, and then the last palette or product that I have to talk about in this video is another, not necessarily just this eyeshadow palette, but the brand itself, Juvia's Place for eyeshadows, has been extremely hyped up recently. Everyone is talking about these Juvia Place palettes. This one here is the Nubian 2 palette. This is what it looks like on the inside. And these are really, really good. They are really, really good. Definitely worth the hype again. Their mattes are really beautiful and really blendable. But I feel like on this one, the shimmers and metallic shades are kind of the standout. I definitely recommend when you apply these, use a wet brush or your finger, because they are almost like a foiled type of formulation. So you definitely, if you want to get that intense look, are going to need a wetted brush or a finger to get it to apply properly. But they are stunning. Every single time I use one of these Juvia's Place palettes and wear it to work, every time a client asks me what I'm wearing. Every single time, because they are so pigmented, so stunning. They're just really, really good, and they're actually pretty affordable. So I definitely recommend checking it out if you haven't yet. I did hear that they were recently on hautelook, which I missed, and I was so sad, but I definitely recommend trying these. Look at these, you guys. They are just, let me find some swatch space here. They're just so gorgeous. Look at that. It's crazy. I know they're finger swatches, but you guys, they're amazing. So definitely worth the hype again. All right, you guys, so those are all the products I wanted to share with you in this Are They Worth the Hype video. If you guys would like to see more videos like this in the future, please leave me those comments, let me know, or give this video a thumbs up. And definitely go check out Drea's video, see what products she had to share with us today. I can't wait to go watch hers next. And thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye, you guys.